studio door crashes open, splintering the silence I've guarded for 3 years. I'm wrist-deep in dust, sorting chipped tools I haven't touched since the accident, when her voice cuts through the air like a blade. Are you the one who sculpts with his hands before his tools? I freeze, my heart slamming against my ribs. The chisel in my hand clatters to the concrete floor, the sound sharp, echoing. I'm Zane Kessler, 34, a sculptor who swore off clay, stone, and feeling after the fire that scarred my hands and my life. And now, this woman, her silhouette framed by the doorway's harsh light, dares to ask about the man I buried. I squint, my vision still sharp despite the burns that crawl up my forearms. She's tall, her dark hair spilling over one shoulder, her hands clasped like she's holding herself together. Her dress clings to her, simple but deliberate, like she dressed for a confession. Who's asking? I say, my voice rough, unused. Maris Tate, she says, stepping inside without invitation. Her boots click on the floor, each step a challenge. I heard about you. They say you don't just carve stone. You feel it. You make it alive. I scoff, wiping my hands on my jeans, the scars tugging at my skin. They say a lot of things. Most of it's bullshit. I turn away, busying myself with a pile of sketches I haven't looked at in years. Studio's closed, has been for a while. She doesn't leave. Instead, she moves closer, her scent hitting me. Jasmine and something earthier, like rain-soaked wood. I don't believe you, she says, her voice soft but unyielding. You're still here, aren't you? Surrounded by stone and tools. You haven't let go. My jaw tightens. I want to tell her to get out, to stop digging into wounds I've cauterized. But there's something in her tone, a quiet hunger that mirrors the ache I've tried to kill. What do you want, Maris? I ask, turning to face her, my hands flexing, itching to feel something other than pain. She doesn't answer right away. The silence stretches, heavy, like the air before a storm. Then, in a move that steals my breath, she reaches for the hem of her dress. My heart stumbles as she pulls it over her head, letting it fall to the floor in a soft heap. She stands there, bare except for simple black undergarments, her skin catching the dim light filtering through the studio's cracked windows. What the hell are you doing? I choke out, my voice raw, my eyes locked on hers. Not her body, though it's screaming to be seen. Her gaze is steady, unflinching, like she's daring me to break. Sculpt me, she says, her voice a low command. With your hands, not your tools, just feel me. My pulse roars. I swore I'd never touch like that again. Not stone, not skin, not anything that could make me feel the way I did before the fire. But she's standing there, vulnerable yet powerful, her skin like clay warmed by the sun, and my hands ache to betray me. Why me? I ask, stepping closer despite myself. The air between us crackles, charged with something I can't name. You don't know me. I know enough, she says, her voice softening, but there's a tremor in it now, a crack in her armor. I know you're the only one who can make me feel seen. I swallow hard, my scarred hands hovering inches from her. I can feel the heat radiating from her skin, and it's undoing me, thread by thread. This is a bad idea, I mutter, but my fingers brush her arm, just barely, and it's like touching a live wire. Her skin is cool, taut, and impossibly alive under my calloused palms. I pull back, cursing under my breath. You don't know what you're asking. Then show me, she whispers, stepping closer, closing the gap. Her breath grazes my jaw, and I'm drowning in jasmine and rain. Show me what your hands can do. I clench my fists, the scars pulling tight, a reminder of why I stopped. 3 years ago, I lost my muse, my studio, my everything in a fire that wasn't an accident. I swore I'd never feel that kind of connection again, not with stone, not with a person. But Maris is here, breaking every rule I've set, and I'm not sure I can stop myself. Maris, I say, my voice low, almost a growl. If I start, I don't know if I can stop. Then don't, she says, and there's a plea in her voice now, raw and unguarded. I'm not asking for safe, Zane. I'm asking for real. The air hums with her words, and I'm caught, suspended between the man I was and the one I've tried to become. My hands move before I can stop them, tracing the curve of her shoulder, slow, deliberate, like I'm learning her shape for the first time. Her breath catches, a soft sound that hits me like a punch. I don't sculpt, not yet, but my fingers linger, memorizing the way her skin yields, the way her pulse races under my touch. What are you running from? I ask, my voice quieter now, my thumb brushing the hollow of her collarbone. Nobody does this, walks into a stranger's studio and strips. Unless they're running. She laughs, a small, broken sound. Maybe I'm running towards something. Her hand finds mine, guiding it to her cheek. Her skin is warm now, softer than I expected, and I feel the faint tremor in her fingers. Maybe I'm running toward you. My chest tightens. You don't even know me, I say again, but it's weaker this time, less conviction, more question. I know you're still here, she says, echoing her earlier words, and I know you're not as gone as you think you are. The silence that follows is deafening. My hand stays on her cheek, my other resting at her waist, and I'm hyper-aware of every point of contact. The warmth of her, the slight hitch in her breath, the way her body leans just a fraction closer. I want to pull away, to retreat to the safety of my solitude, but her presence is a tide, pulling me under. Maris, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. It's not just sculpting. I know, she says, and her hand covers mine, pressing it harder against her cheek. That's why I'm here. I close my eyes, the weight of her words sinking in. My studio, once a tomb, feels alive again, the air thick with possibility and danger. My hands, scarred and hesitant, are waking up, and I'm terrified of what they'll find in her. But as her breath mingles with mine, as her skin burns under my touch, I know one thing for certain. Everything has already changed. Zane, she says, her voice soft but deliberate, like she's testing the weight of my name. What happens now? I exhale, my breath uneven, and step back, breaking the contact. My hands feel empty without her, but I need space to think, to remember why this is a bad idea. Now, I say, turning toward the workbench, my fingers brushing a cold block of clay. You tell me why you're really here, Maris. Nobody walks into a dead man's studio and asks to be sculpted unless they want something more. She laughs, a low, throaty sound that sends a shiver down my spine. Maybe I just want to feel alive, she says, and I hear her move, the soft rustle of fabric as she steps closer. She's still bare except for her undergarments, and I force myself to keep my eyes on her face, though the urge to trace every curve of her is a fire in my veins. Don't you ever want that? I clench my jaw, my scars itching under the weight of her question. I tried that once, I say, my voice rougher than I mean it to be. Didn't end well. Then try again, she says, and there's a teasing edge to her voice now, like she's daring me to crack open the tomb I've built around myself. Unless you're scared. I turn, meeting her gaze. Her eyes are dark, unyielding, and for a moment I'm caught in them, like a moth pinned to a flame. You don't know what you're asking, I say, but my voice betrays me, softer now, less certain. Then show me, she says again, and it's not a plea this time. It's a command. She steps closer, so close I can feel the heat of her, the faint tremor of her breath. Sculpt me, Zane, like you used to, before you stopped. My hands move before I can stop them, reaching for the clay on the workbench. It's cool, pliant, and I need it absently, grounding myself. Fine, I say, my voice low. But we do this my way. You stand there, you don't move, and you don't talk unless I ask you to. She raises an eyebrow, a small smile tugging at her lips. Bossy. I like it. I ignore the jab, my focus narrowing to the clay, to her. I step behind her, my hands hovering over her shoulders. Hold still, I say, and my fingers brush her collarbone, light at first, testing. Her skin is cool, taut like clay warmed by the sun, and I feel her shiver under my touch. My hands move slowly, tracing the delicate ridge of bone, memorizing its shape. I'm not sculpting yet, not with clay, but with her, learning her contours, her edges. Zane, she breathes, her voice barely audible, and the sound of my name on her lips is a spark to dry tinder. My hands pause, my thumb lingering at the hollow of her throat, where her pulse races. Don't, I say, my voice tight. You said you'd be quiet. I lied, she murmurs, and there's a smile in her voice, teasing, dangerous. You're good at this, you know. I can feel it. The way you touch me, it's like you're seeing me. I swallow hard, my hands moving lower, to the curve of her lower back. My fingers linger there, longer than they should, tracing the gentle dip above her spine. The air between us thickens, charged with unspoken want. I'm not supposed to feel this, not the heat of her, not the pull of her presence. But my hands are greedy, mapping her like she's the only thing keeping me tethered. You're trouble, I say, stepping back, my hands falling to my sides. The clay on the workbench sits untouched, a silent witness to my betrayal. It's not just art. I know, she says, turning to face me, her eyes searching mine. But maybe that's the point. We stand there, caught in a silence that feels alive, pulsing with possibility. My hands burn with the memory of her skin, and I know I'm already too far gone to turn back. The studio feels different tonight, the air heavier, laced with the scent of wine and the low hum of jazz from a speaker Maris brought. It's been a week since she first walked in, and every session since has been a tightrope walk. Her teasing words, my hands lingering too long, the unspoken pull between us growing stronger. Tonight she's invited me to sculpt her after hours, and I know it's a line I shouldn't cross. But when she shows up, a bottle of red in one hand and a glint in her eye, I don't send her away. You're late, I say, leaning against the workbench, my arms crossed to keep my hands from betraying me again. Worth it, she says, setting the wine down and pouring 2 glasses. Her movements are deliberate, her dress, a deep green that clings to her like a second skin, shifting with every step. She hands me a glass, her fingers brushing mine, and I feel the jolt of it in my chest. To breaking rules, she says, raising her glass. I clink mine against hers, my eyes never leaving her face. You're too good at that, I say, taking a sip. The wine is sharp, bold like her. She smiles, setting her glass down and moving to the center of the studio. The lights are low, the jazz soft and mournful, and she turns to me, her voice dropping. Sculpt me tonight, Zane, in the dark. My heart stumbles. The dark? No lights, she says, her voice a whisper now. Just your hands. Just us. I should say no. I should tell her to leave, to take her wine and her music and her dangerous ideas. But the fire in her eyes, the way her breath catches when she speaks, pulls me under. I flick off the lights, plunging the studio into shadow. The only light comes from the moon through the cracked windows, casting her in silver. Maris, I say, my voice rough as I step closer. This isn't a game. I know, she says, and I hear the rustle of fabric as she slips out of her dress. My breath catches, my hands clenching at my sides. I can't see her clearly now, just the outline of her, but my hands know her shape, her warmth. move behind her, my fingers finding her shoulders first, then her arms, slow and deliberate. The darkness sharpens everything, the feel of her skin, the sound of her breath, the scent of jasmine clinging to her. My hands travel lower, tracing the curve of her waist, the swell of her hips, mapping her like she's a sculpture I'll never finish. She's still, but her breath is uneven, and I feel the tremor in her body as my fingers brush the small of her back. "Zane," she whispers, and it's not a plea. It's a surrender. My hands pause, my thumb pressing lightly against her spine, and the air between us crackles, alive with want. I break my rule. My hands move beyond art, beyond restraint, pulling her closer until her back presses against my chest. Her skin is warm, soft, and I bury my face in her hair, inhaling her scent. My hands slide up her sides, slow, reverent, and she leans into me, her breath hitching. We sink to the studio floor, clay dust clinging to our skin, and I make love to her there, in the dark, with nothing but the jazz and the moon as witnesses. It's not rushed, not desperate. It's slow, deliberate. Every touch a promise, every breath a confession. Her hands find my scars, tracing them like they're part of the art, and for the first time in years, I don't flinch. After we lie there, tangled in each other, the clay dust gritty against my skin. Her head rests on my chest, her breath warm against my neck. I think she's asleep until she speaks, her voice so soft, I almost miss it. He'd never touch me like this. I freeze, my heart lurching. "Who?" I ask, my voice sharper than I mean it to be. She doesn't answer right away, and the silence feels like a blade. "No one," she says finally, but it's too late. The words hang between us, a crack in the moment, and I'm left wondering who she's running from, and why I feel like I'm already losing her. "Who's he?" I ask again, my voice low, careful, like I'm stepping around broken glass. My fingers trace the curve of her shoulder, but it's different now, less reverent, more searching. Maris tenses just for a moment, then shifts, propping herself up on one elbow. I can't see her eyes clearly in the dark, but I feel her gaze, heavy and guarded. "No one," she says again, but her voice wavers, a hairline fracture in her usual confidence. "Just a ghost." "A ghost," I repeat, my tone flat. I sit up, the clay dust gritty against my palms, and scrub a hand over my face. My scars pull tight, a reminder of promises I broke tonight. "You don't strike me as the type to be haunted, Maris." She laughs, but it's brittle, not the warm, teasing sound I've come to crave. "Everyone's haunted by something, Zane." She reaches for her dress, pulling it on with quick, practiced movements, like she's rebuilding a wall. "Even you." I flinch. The memory of Tessa hitting me like a fist. My ex-fiancée, with her sharp smile and sharper betrayal, running off with my rival critic the night before my last exhibit. I see her in flashes, her hand on his arm, her laugh cutting through the gallery crowd, the way she left my sculptures, my heart, exposed and unfinished. I shake my head, trying to dislodge the image, but it clings, and Maris's evasiveness only sharpens the edges. "Talk to me," I say, standing, my voice rougher now. "You show up here, stripped down, ask me to sculpt you, and now you're throwing out cryptic lines about some guy who doesn't touch you right. What's your deal, Maris?" She freezes, her hands stilling on the hem of her dress. For a moment, I think she'll bolt, but then she turns, her silhouette sharp against the moonlight. "My deal?" she says, her voice low, almost dangerous. "I'm here because I thought you could see me, really see me, not just this." She gestures to her body, her hand trembling slightly. I step closer, my hands itching to touch her again, to smooth away the tension in her frame. But I notice something, a thin, jagged scar on her wrist, barely visible in the dim light. My stomach twists. I hadn't seen it before, not in the frenzy of our sessions, but now it's all I can see, a story she hasn't told. "What's this?" I ask, reaching for her wrist, my fingers brushing the raised line. She pulls back, sharp and sudden, tucking her arm against her chest. "Nothing," she says too quickly. "An accident." "Bullshit," I say, my voice softer now, but firm. "You don't get scars like that from accidents." Her eyes flash, and for the first time I see something raw in her, fear maybe, or pain. "You don't get to decide what I share, Zane," she says, her voice cutting. "You're not my keeper." I want to argue, to demand answers, but the way she's looking at me, watching me when she thinks I'm not looking, stops me cold. There's a hunger in her gaze, but also a distance, like she's measuring me against someone else. And I'm falling for her, hard and fast, like clay slipping through my fingers. But I can't shake the feeling she's hiding something. Someone. "Fine," I say, stepping back, my hands raised in surrender. "Keep your secrets, but don't expect me to keep breaking my rules for someone who won't let me in." She opens her mouth, then closes it, her shoulders sagging. "I'm trying," she whispers, and it's the most honest thing she's said all night. She steps closer, her hand brushing my arm, and I feel the pull of her again, like gravity. "Just keep sculpting me, Zane. Please." I nod, though my chest aches with the weight of her words, her secrets, and the ghost I can't see. My hands are already reaching for her, even as my heart warns me to stop. 3 days. 3 days of silence. No texts. No calls. No Maris. The studio feels like a crypt again. The half-formed clay figure on my workbench, a mocking reminder of her absence. I try to work, to lose myself in the stone, but my hands are useless without her. I'm Zane Kessler, a man who swore he'd never need anyone again, yet here I am, pacing, checking my phone, haunted by the memory of her skin, her voice, her whispered confession about a man who doesn't touch her right. When she finally shows up, it's late, the sky outside roiling with storm clouds. The door creaks open, and there she is, soaked from the rain, her green dress clinging to her like a second skin. But her eyes are different, colder, guarded, like she's built a wall I can't climb. "Where the hell have you been?" I demand, my voice sharp, my hands clenched to keep from reaching for her. The studio smells of wet stone and ozone, the air heavy with the coming storm. She doesn't answer right away, just sets a bottle of wine on the workbench. Her movements slow, deliberate. "I needed time," she says finally, her voice low, almost drowned out by the distant rumble of thunder. "I'm here now." 3 days, Maris," I say, stepping closer, my anger flaring. "No word, no explanation, and now you just waltz in like nothing happened?" Her eyes flash and she steps toward me, closing the gap. "You don't own me, Zane," she says, her voice sharp but trembling. "I came back. Isn't that enough?" "No," I snap, my hands grabbing her arms, not hard but firm, pinning her against the studio wall. The rain beats against the windows, a wild rhythm that matches the pulse hammering in my throat. "It's not enough. I need to know why you're here, why you keep running." Her breath catches, her chest rising and falling under my hands. "Finish the sculpture," she says, her voice a plea now, raw and desperate. "Please, Zane, I need you to finish it. I'm furious, undone, and I don't know if I want to shake her or kiss her." My hands slide up her arms, to her shoulders, and then her face, my thumbs brushing the rain from her cheeks. Her skin is cold, but her lips part, and the air between us ignites. I kiss her, brutal and desperate, all the anger and want and fear pouring out. She kisses me back, just as fierce, her hands gripping my shirt, pulling me closer. The storm outside roars, lightning flashing through the windows, and we're a tangle of silk and steel, her softness against my scars. We stumble to the floor, the clay dust gritty beneath us. And I make love to her in a thunderstorm of emotion, raw, urgent, like we're trying to outrun the secrets between us. Her hands trace my scars, her lips find my throat, and every touch is a question I can't answer. It's not gentle like before. It's a collision, a reckoning, and I'm lost in her, in the way she moves, the way she breathes my name like it's a prayer. After we lie there, the rain still pounding, our breaths ragged. My arm is around her, her head on my chest, but the silence feels different now, fragile, like it could shatter with a word. I realize, with a clarity that cuts, that I need her more than my art, more than the stone I used to live for. She's not just my muse, she's the pulse in my veins, the fire in my hands. Maris, I say, my voice hoarse, who are you running from? She stiffens, and for a moment, I think she'll pull away. But then she turns, her eyes searching mine in the dim light. I'm not running, she whispers, but her voice cracks, and I see the scar on her wrist again, a silent scream. I'm trying to find myself. I want to believe her, but the ghost in her words, the he she mentioned, looms larger now, and I'm terrified that I'm sculpting a woman who's already someone else's art. She shifts, sitting up, her silhouette sharp against the moonlight, filtering through the cracked windows. I should go, she says, her voice soft but distant, like she's already halfway out the door. She reaches for her dress, the green fabric sliding over her skin, and I feel a pang, like I'm losing her before I've even had her. Stay, I say, the word slipping out before I can stop it. My hand reaches for hers, my scarred fingers brushing her wrist, careful to avoid the scar I know she's hiding. Just stay. She hesitates, her eyes searching mine in the dim light. Zane, she says, her voice trembling, you don't know what you're asking. Then tell me, I say, sitting up, my voice sharper now. Tell me what you're hiding. Who's he? Why are you here? She pulls her hand away, tucking it against her chest like a shield. I told you, she says, but her voice cracks, betraying her. I'm here for me. I don't believe her. Not fully, but I don't push. Not yet. She stands, grabbing her bag from the workbench, and I notice the way her fingers linger on the half-formed clay figure, the sculpture I've been shaping in her image. It's rough, unfinished, but it's her. The curve of her shoulder, the dip of her spine. I watch as she traces it, her touch reverent, almost mournful. I'll be back tomorrow, she says, not looking at me. Finish it, Zane. Please. She leaves before I can answer, the door clicking shut behind her. The studio feels emptier without her, the air stale with clay dust and unanswered questions. I sit there, staring at the sculpture, my hands itching to work, to lose myself in her shape. But something feels off, like a note played wrong in the jazz that still hums from her speaker. I stand, moving to the workbench, and that's when I see it. A folded piece of paper tucked beneath the clay figure's base. My heart stumbles as I pick it up, unfolding it with unsteady hands. Her handwriting is sharp, deliberate. What you feel is real, but I came here for a reason. My stomach twists. A reason. Not me, not art, something else. I reread the note, my pulse hammering, and then I notice her bag, left behind in her haste. It's open, a corner of paper peeking out. I know I shouldn't, but my hands move before my brain catches up, pulling out a worn letter. The paper is soft, creased from being folded and unfolded, and my eyes catch on the signature at the bottom. Elliot Vance. My blood runs cold. Elliot Vance, the critic who gutted my career, who stole Tessa and left me with nothing but ash and scars. The man who turned my art into a punchline the night before my last exhibit. I scan the letter, my vision blurring with rage. It's vague, coded. but the words check his hands and still has the touch leap out like knives. It's dated a week before Maris walked into my studio. I drop the letter, my hands shaking. A setup. She's a setup. The realization hits like a hammer, cracking open the fragile thing we've built. I want to believe it's a mistake, that the letter means something else. But the pieces fit too well. Her sudden appearance, her insistence on my sculpting, her cryptic words about he. Elliot sent her to see if I still have the magic touch, to dig up the artist he buried. And I let her in, let her under my skin, let her make me feel again. I grip the workbench, my scars pulling tight, and stare at the sculpture. It's her, but it's a lie. Everything is a lie. The next day, the studio is a furnace of my own making, the air thick with the weight of Maris's note and Elliot's letter. I haven't slept, haven't moved the sculpture, haven't touched the clay. My hands are useless, curled into fists as I pace, replaying every moment with her. Every touch, every word, every breath. I'm Zane Kessler, a man who swore he'd never be played again. Yet here I am, drowning in a woman who might be someone else's pawn. When the door opens, I know it's her before I turn. Her scent, jasmine and rain, hits me first, followed by the soft click of her boots. Zane, she says, her voice tentative, like she's stepping into a minefield. I'm sorry I left like that. I turn, my jaw tight, the letter clutched in my hand. Her eyes widen when she sees it, her bag still sitting on the workbench, accusing her. What's this, Maris? I say, holding up the letter, my voice low, dangerous. Explain it. She freezes, her face paling. Zane, Elliot Vance, I cut her off, stepping closer, the letter crumpling in my fist. You're working for him, aren't you? He sent you to spy on me, to see if I'm still worth something. Was that your reason? I throw her note at her feet, the words, what you feel is real, mocking me now. Her eyes dart to the note, then back to me, and for the first time she looks small, caught. It's not what you think, she says, her voice trembling. Yes, Elliot sent me. He wanted to know if you could still sculpt, if you were you, but I didn't expect this. She gestures between us, her hand shaking. I didn't expect you. I laugh, a bitter, jagged sound. You expect me to believe that? You walk in here, strip down, get under my skin, and it's all just a coincidence? I step closer, my anger a live wire. What was the plan, Maris? Seduce me, report back to him, tell him my hands still work? No! She snaps, her voice rising, raw with something like desperation. I swear, Zane, I fell for you. What we have, it's real. I didn't plan this. Real? I spit, my hands shaking now. You lied to me. You used me. My voice cracks, and I hate it. Hate how much I want to believe her. How much I miss her touch already. Like air I can't breathe without. I didn't lie, she says, stepping closer, her eyes pleading. I didn't tell you everything. Elliot, he's not who you think. He's not just a critic. She hesitates, her voice dropping. He's someone I owed. Owed, I say, my voice cold. What? You're his errand girl? His spy? She flinches but doesn't back down. I was supposed to check on you, yes, but I stayed because of you, Zane, because of how you make me feel, like I'm more than a shadow. I shake my head, my chest tight with rage and something worse, longing. Get out, I say, my voice low, final. Take your lies and go. Zane, please, she says, reaching for me, but I step back, out of her reach. Get out! The words are a growl, and I turn away, unable to look at her. I hear her hesitate, her breath hitching, then the soft click of her boots as she moves to the door. But before she leaves, she pauses. I love you, she whispers, so soft I almost miss it. I didn't mean to, but I do. The door shuts and she's gone. The silence is deafening, crushing, and I'm alone with the sculpture, her shape, her lie. My hands tremble as I grab a mallet from the workbench, the weight familiar, grounding. I swing, and the clay figure shatters, pieces scattering across the floor like my trust. I hit it again, and again, until it's nothing but dust and ruin, just like me. I sink to my knees, the mallet slipping from my hands. My scars burn, but it's her touch I miss. Her warmth, her breath against my skin. I hate her for what she's done, but I hate myself more for needing her, for wanting her even now. The studio is empty, but she's everywhere. In the clay dust, in the air, in the ache I can't shake. I'm drowning without her, and I don't know how to surface. I stand, my scarred hands trembling, and move to the workbench. A fresh block of clay sits there, untouched, taunting me with its blankness. I haven't sculpted since she left, since I smashed the figure that was her, but my hands itch, restless, as if they still carry her shape. And I dig my fingers into the clay, the cool, pliant texture grounding me, but it feels wrong, lifeless, heavy, nothing like her skin. I close my eyes and she's there, unbidden. The curve of her spine under my palms, the way her breath hitched when I kissed the soft bend of her knees that final night, her whispered, "Stay," like a plea I couldn't answer. Damn it, I mutter, my hands stalling. The clay collapses under my grip, shapeless, useless. I try again, molding, pressing, but every curve is wrong, every line a betrayal of the memory I can't shake. Her jasmine scent, the rain-soaked warmth of her, the way she leaned into me like I was her anchor. It's all there, imprinted in my mind. But the clay won't listen. It's not her. It never will be. I step back, wiping my hands on my jeans, the scars pulling tight. The studio is silent, the jazz she loved long gone, and I'm alone with the weight of her absence. I think of her note. What you feel is real, but I came here for a reason. And the letter from Elliot Vance, the critic who tore my world apart 3 years ago. She was his spy, sent to see if my hand still held the magic touch. But her last words, her trembling, "I love you," felt like truth. I want to hate her, but all I feel is the ache of her gone. The phone rings, shattering the silence, and I flinch. The number on the screen makes my blood run cold. Elliot Vance. I almost don't answer, but rage and curiosity win out. "What the hell do you want?" I snap, my voice raw. His laugh is sharp, familiar, cutting. "Zane Kessler, still biting. I heard you're back to smashing things." "Get to the point," I say, my grip tightening on the phone. "She quit," he says, and my heart stumbles. "Maris. Walked out on me yesterday. Said you were worth more than a byline." His voice drips with disdain, but there's something else. Envy, maybe. Or frustration. "Thought you'd want to know." I freeze, the words sinking in like stones. "She quit," I repeat, my voice flat, testing the truth of it. "Said you were the real deal," he says. And I can hear the smirk. "Guess she fell for the broken artist act." "Careful, Zane. She's good at playing parts." He hangs up before I can respond, leaving me with the echo of his words and a flicker of something dangerous. Hope. Maris quit. For me, or so he says. But the letter, her scar, her secrets, they still loom, shadows I can't trust. I look at the ruined clay, the fragments of her sculpture, and my hands burn with the memory of her, her knees under my lips, her breath catching, her voice soft and desperate. "Stay." I pick up a chisel, the weight familiar but wrong, and try again. The clay resists, but I force it, carving her shape from memory. The arch of her neck, the curve of her hip, the way her body felt alive under my hands. It's not enough, but it's all I have. I sculpt until my fingers ache, until the studio is a haze of dust and moonlight, and still, it's not her. I miss her touch like air, and I'm drowning without it. Days bleed into weeks, and the studio becomes a prison of my own making. The new sculpture, Maris, or the ghost of her, stands half-finished, its lines sharper now, but still incomplete. I've poured everything into it, every memory of her skin, her breath, her voice, but it's a hollow echo. I'm Zane Kessler, a man who thought he could lock his heart away, but Maris broke it open, and now I'm bleeding without her. I'm at the gallery for a small exhibit, a favor to an old friend who thinks my work still matters. The space is crowded, filled with murmurs and clinking glasses. But I feel alone, my scars hidden under long sleeves, my thoughts on her. I wander, avoiding the stairs, until I turn a corner and stop dead. There, in the center of the room, is the broken sculpture, the one I smashed in my rage. Someone must have salvaged it, pieced it together, and now it's on display, jagged edges and all, a raw, fractured version of Maris. And standing before it, her back to me, is her, Maris. Her dark hair falls loose, her frame wrapped in a simple black dress that clings to her like a secret. She's staring at the sculpture, her hands clasped tightly, and I can't move, can't breathe. The crowd fades, the noise a distant hum, and it's just us, the broken figure between us like a confession. I step closer, my heart pounding. Maris, I say, my voice low, rough with everything I've held back. She turns and her eyes meet mine, wide and unguarded, shimmering with something I can't name. Zane, she whispers, and it's the sound I've been chasing in my dreams, the one that haunts my hands. We don't touch, not yet, just eyes, searching, holding. Hers are dark, raw, like she's been carrying the same weight I have. What are you doing here? I ask, my voice barely steady. I had to see it, she says, glancing at the sculpture, her voice soft but thick with emotion. I had to see what you made of me. It's broken, I say, my throat tight, like everything else. She shakes her head, stepping closer, her boots soft on the gallery floor. It's beautiful, she says, her eyes locking on mine. It's us. My chest aches, and I want to reach for her, but the letter, the betrayal, still burns. You lied to me, I say, my voice low, raw. Elliot sent you. You were his spy. I was, she admits, her voice breaking. But I fell for you, Zane. I quit because I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't betray you. She steps closer, close enough that I can smell her jasmine scent, feel the warmth of her. I love you. I meant it. I want to believe her, but the scars, mine, hers, make it hard. Why should I trust you? I ask, my voice a whisper now, my hands flexing at my sides. Because I'm here, she says, her eyes searching mine. Because I'm standing in front of you, asking you to see me. The air between us hums, electric, and I can't hold back anymore. My hand reaches for hers, my scarred fingers intertwining with hers, careful, tentative. Her skin is warm, alive, and the contact sends a jolt through me, like coming up for air. She squeezes my hand, her eyes never leaving mine, and then we're moving, stepping closer, until her lips find mine. The kiss is soft, slow, a promise stitched into every breath, every touch. We leave the gallery, the crowd a blur, and end up in my studio, the space empty except for the ghosts of our past. The moonlight spills through the windows, casting shadows on the clay-streaked floor, and we don't speak, don't need to. I pull her close, my hands framing her face, and we make love there, slow and reverent, like I'm sculpting her soul. My fingers trace her jaw, her collarbone, the scar on her wrist, and she doesn't pull away. Her breath catches when I kiss her throat, her hands guiding mine. And it's not just her body, it's her. All of her, raw and real. After we lie tangled in the moonlight, clay dust clinging to our skin. Her head rests on my chest, her fingers tracing my scars. And I know this is the shape I've been chasing, not in clay, but in her. I'm sorry, she whispers, her voice soft against my skin, for everything. I kiss her forehead, my lips lingering. Just don't leave again, I say, my voice rough with the truth. I can't sculpt without you. She smiles, and for the first time I believe her. The studio is quiet, but it's alive again. Filled with her, with us, with the promise of something unbroken. She shifts, propping herself up on one elbow, her dark hair spilling over her shoulder like ink. Her eyes, soft in the moonlight, search mine, and I feel the weight of her gaze, like she's seeing past my scars, past the man I've tried to bury. Zane, she says, her voice low, almost hesitant. What happens now? I don't answer right away, my hand finding hers, my scarred fingers intertwining with her smooth ones. The contact is grounding, a reminder that she's here, real, not a ghost or a lie. Now, I say, my voice rough but steady, we finish it. Her brow furrows, and she glances at the workbench where the new sculpture, her shape, reborn from the ruins of the one I smashed, stands half-formed. The sculpture, she asks, a flicker of uncertainty in her voice. I nod, sitting up, the clay dust shifting beneath us. It's you, I say, my eyes on the figure. Its lines sharper now, more alive. It's always been you. She stands, pulling me with her, and we move to the workbench, the moonlight casting long shadows across the clay. It's not finished, not yet, but it's close. The curve of her shoulder, the arch of her neck, the subtle dip of her spine. My hands itch to work, to bring her to life in a way I couldn't before. But there's something else too, a need to make this more than art, to make it ours. Help me, I say, handing her a small carving tool, my voice softer now. You're part of this. Her eyes widen, but she takes the tool, her fingers brushing mine. I'm not an artist, she says, a small laugh escaping her. Nervous but warm. You don't need to be, I say, stepping behind her, my hands guiding hers to the clay. Just feel it. We work together, slow and deliberate, my hands over hers, shaping the clay. Her touch is tentative at first, but she finds a rhythm, her fingers following mine, carving the delicate line of the figure's jaw, the soft curve of its hip. The studio is quiet, save for our breaths and the soft scrape of tools, and it feels sacred, like we're building something bigger than stone. Her warmth presses against me, her scent wrapping around us, and I'm hyper-aware of every point of contact. Her hands under mine, her shoulder brushing my chest, the way her breath catches when our fingers linger too long. Why do you keep doing this? She asks, her voice soft, almost a whisper. After everything, Elliot, me, the lies, why do you keep sculpting me? I pause, my hand stilling over hers, the clay cool and pliant beneath our fingers. The question cuts deep, stirring memories of fire, of Tessa's betrayal, of the years I spent numb. But Maris is different, her lies, her truth, her touch. They've cracked me open, and I can't go back. Because you made me feel again? I say, my voice low, raw. With your lies, with your truth, with your touch. She turns, her eyes meeting mine, wide and shimmering in the dim light. Zane, she says, her voice trembling, I don't deserve that. You do, I say, my hand cupping her face, my thumb brushing her cheek. You're not just a muse, Maris. You're the reason I'm not broken anymore. Her breath hitches and she leans into my touch, her eyes closing for a moment. When she opens them, there's a fire there, a resolve I haven't seen before. Then let's finish it, she says, turning back to the sculpture. Let's make it real. We work through the night, the hours blurring into a dance of hands and clay. I shape the figure's eyes, blind but seeing, capturing the way Maris looks at me, like I'm more than my scars. She carves the hands, delicate but strong, a mirror of her own. The sculpture takes form, no longer just her but us, our collision, our pain, our redemption. I title it in my mind, Redemption, not just for me, but for her, for the scars we both carry, for the trust we're rebuilding. As dawn breaks, soft light spilling through the windows, we step back, the sculpture complete. It's raw, imperfect, but alive. Its lines pulsing with everything we've poured into it. Maris stands beside me, her shoulder brushing mine, and I feel her trembling, not from cold but from something deeper. "It's beautiful," she whispers, her voice thick with emotion. "It's us." I turn to her, my hand finding hers, and we don't need words. Our fingers intertwine, and I pull her close, my lips finding hers in a kiss that's slow, reverent, like a vow. Her hands slide up on my arms, tracing my scars, and I don't flinch. She's not just in the clay, she's in me, in every breath, every beat of my heart. "Redemption," I say against her lips, my voice barely audible. "That's what you are." She smiles, a real smile, unguarded and bright, and it's like the sun breaking through clouds. "Then keep me," she says, her forehead resting against mine. "Don't let me go." "I won't," I say, and it's a promise I mean to keep. The studio, once a place of ghosts, is alive again, filled with her, with us, with the art we've made together. The clay figure stands as a testament, not just to her shape, but to our story. Broken, rebuilt, redeemed,